Hello and welcome to Parish and Community. My guest today is John Hartung. He's a parishioner. He's also the point person for the White House retreat. So welcome, John. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for inviting me.
So tell me about your relationship to College Church. How did you first get involved in the parish?
Okay. Well, my wife and I are natives of the St. Louis metro area, but we moved away for over some 10 years or so. And when we came back in the area, I came back first. My wife and our children finished the school year, but I came back first, and it was my job to investigate school districts and parishes. And a paramount concern or interest of ours was the religious education for our boys, and so looked at a lot of parishes, and but the College Church was the best fit for that. Angie Dorr at the time was heading that up, and is just terrific in that role. And so that was probably the most significant aspect, but it wasn't the only thing. And I wouldn't have even known to go to College Church to look if I wasn't already familiar with it to some degree. But I was. In fact, my wife and I first laid eyes on each other in College Church.
Okay.
Our first words to each other were "Peace be with you" at the sign of peace, and at a special mass for MSW majors in an honors program or something. And my sister and my future wife were in that program together, and so we met through there. But we both have Jesuit backgrounds, and from an educational standpoint, and two of my mom's uncles were Jesuits at SLU. And get this, but my mom and dad actually first saw each other at College Church in the 50s.
You've been keeping it in the family.
At something that was then called Holy Hour. So
Got it.
anyway, so but College Church, like I said, it wasn't just the religious education. It's also the caliber of the homilies and so on. My mother had long given me insight that the Jesuits were really the smart priests and the deep thinkers, and that's so true. So anyway, it's a great fit. But that's how we're here.
And what sort of things have you gotten involved with over the years? How would parishioners know you at College Church?
Okay. Probably the first thing I got involved with, not surprisingly, was the religious education piece, the Youth Faith Commission. Being a parent of then young children, and Angie kind of brought me into that, and so that was very rewarding, and with a team of really committed parents and so on, and eventually I became the I guess the chair of that, the late chair of that, and which was interesting. And one aspect of that was that when you chair one of those commissions, you become I'll say an ex officio or de facto member of the parish council, the advisor council. And so for, I don't know, a couple of years or so, I was a pseudo member of that, which was really interesting. And I hope I contributed some, and I certainly learned a great deal and met a lot of great people in that. And then when I eventually stepped away from that, I became a lector, as I still am. With Sister Carolyn's tutelage there, and that's really valuable. The White House retreat that you mentioned, I've been doing that. I've been going to White House retreats for, I don't know, maybe 5-6 years or so. Dave Schnelt was coordinating that when I first got involved, and I had been interested in that because that's something that my father used to do. It's something my father-in-law still does. And so, and as I mentioned, I've always known the Jesuits were the really really smart ones. And so I was intrigued by that. And when I learned that College Church was involved, I got involved. And then, eventually I was asked to help help with that. And so I'm doing that at this point. Those are probably the main things that I've been involved with over the years.
If someone has not been to the retreat at the White House, what might they expect from seeing it for the first time?
Well, let's see. I guess the things that stand out for me is the tranquility and beauty of it. It's set about a half hour from here. It's on the bluffs of the Mississippi River, and it's just a really nice setting, very relaxing, beautiful chapel, beautiful old, this is very nice accommodation with character. And so that, that's what one would see, and what one experiences is some really well prepared and thought-provoking presentations that are thematically arranged, consistent with Ignatian spirituality, and a lot of time for a lot of private time for thinking and reflection, and plenty of opportunity to meet with various Jesuits, kind of in a spiritual advisor role. And so it's just really valuable in that regard. So yeah, I'd recommend it.
How have they been having to change things around because of the pandemic?
Well, there have been times when they weren't doing live retreats because, like, St. Louis County had rules and so on that would limit that. They are doing them now, but consistent with COVID guidelines and so on. And so the number of participants is cut in about half. Instead of maybe 90 or 100 a retreat, there's about half of that. So and that allows for the prudent social distancing and so on. And even the last I checked, although some participants are in the chapel to hear the presentations, some are over in another hall across the way watching them on the screen, so as that everybody's spread out amply. So that's I don't know. I haven't followed all the details of what they're doing COVID-wise, but I know they're being very responsible about it in general. So.
What kinds of things have you noticed in your own faith journey as a result of being part of the White House retreat? Has anything stood out to you from that?
Not any one specific thing. I mean, it's just a chance to really look at, what is God looking for me to do, and so it's a chance for prayer, of asking for guidance, and for meditation, and for kind of looking at how to best how to best do that. And just in general, I find that I gain the most spiritually sometimes when I'm thinking about things that are really overwhelming, and the retreat can be a place for that. But because I tend to want to control things. Sorry for my Westie in the background, but I tend to be a person who wants to control things. And when things get so overwhelming that I realize I can't, that's when I let go, and I say, okay, okay, Lord, it's in your hands. What do you want me to do? And that's kind of that's a way that I grow, whether at White House retreat or elsewhere. But it's a matter of turning things over and listening for that guidance. And that really, to me, that really reveals. Because when I do step out of the way and let God do what He needs to do, it's amazing the results. So that's how I grow.
Well, we are continuing to mention the White House retreat in the bulletin, so that folks can check out information about that. What are the dates again for the men's retreat?
Sure. So the next retreat is coming up in mid-February, It's on a Thursday, I believe that's the 11th of February, and then it runs through that Sunday, which is Valentine's Day. It runs through about noon then. And you know, the announcements have run in the bulletin, and I'm one of the contacts listed. And for the longest time, it had my home phone number in there, which was not inaccurate. It's just the number we rarely pick up. And but I now has my cell phone in there, so they have the right number. And that went in this Sunday, and I have gotten a call of it as a result already. So we are, as I said, you know, the capacity is cut down to about half, and but we do still have some space. If anyone's interested, I'd be happy to, you know, to talk about it. And in terms of whether to go or not, especially in COVID, totally a personal choice, and you can read online what they're doing and so on, and make your choice. But that's kind of where things stand.
Great, and I'll put the link to the White House Retreats website too in the comments to this video, so that folks can go right to there after they see this. So,
Okay, great. Okay, thanks.
John, thank you for your time today. Really appreciate it.
Oh, my pleasure. My pleasure. Appreciate it. All right. Thanks so much.
All right.